This full moon has been absolutely phenomenal and powerful, and you may be thriving and like in your power, or all this power may be coming to you and you're just not receiving it. And this may be for two reasons. One is because you may not be owning your shadow and having the capacity to hold the discomfort, or you may not have the capacity to hold the light within you. Because that's what happens to so many of us. We've been trained out of that. We've been actually trained out of both, right? Push away the bad and welcome in the good, but not too much, because that asks us to grow. Because we tend to choose the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven. So I don't want the unfamiliar. I don't want the better, because I want comfortable. I want that which I know. So this full moon is incredible, because this invitation is very potent, and you can make the most of these energies right now. So whether you're there absolutely thriving, how do we increase that capacity? And if you're there just, I feel like it's almost there, but I'm just not there, this video is for you as well. So let's dive right in. Such powerful energies. If you're making the most of it, you're probably like assertive. You're standing up for yourself. You're in your power. Things are working out for you. And how do we keep that going, right? Because sometimes it feels like, okay, it's here and we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? We're waiting for it to go downward because, well, how much success can we hold, right? And part of this is so important to keep maintaining and growing your capacity to hold well-being, to hold positivity, to hold alignment. Because most of us have not been trained into it. We've actually been trained to the opposite. We've been trained to have bad days. Do you know how hard, how freaking difficult it is to have a bad day? Because the foundation of life is well-being. This is you training a muscle, and you've trained it so well. We've trained this muscle of what's wrong? Let me focus on the negative. What isn't working? Like, all of life is here supporting you. And we've been taught into thinking that it isn't. We've been taught into complaining, into receiving validation and connection through struggle, through saying, oh, can you show up for me? And, connection. We equated connection with difficulty, with struggle. We measure the depth and the strength of friendships or relationships by, we've been through so much hardship together. What if instead you measured by, we had so many good times together. We had so much positivity and ease and flow. So this is a side note. This is something that I do want you to bring to awareness, because it's keeping a lot of us stuck, because it's all here for you. But our capacity to hold it isn't there. And this has to be trained. This has to be consciously chosen. This is exactly why we have the live sessions and Thrive. It's like, you're there showing up for you. Wait, how good can I feel? Oh, wait, I can actually celebrate me. And if we don't do that, then we're going to be in this struggle, in this, okay, one more dark night of the soul, another thing I have to overcome. And we've been taught to love the underdog. We've been taught that when we struggle and then we come out on top and we're exhausted and burn out, but, I achieved this. And then you get a little window of a break until the next struggle. We don't actually have to do that. But if we don't learn how to create intimacy and connection through those ups and downs, and see each one as an opportunity for that, we're going to struggle. And so some full moons are bringing out this, okay, it's a shit show, right? Some full moons, like this one, is helping us step into our power. But they're not going to help you in the long run, neither of those, if you do not have the capacity to hold a shadow, and if you do not have the capacity to hold the light. And this is the one thing that many people don't talk about, because it's like, okay, how do I overcome the shadow? Do you have the capacity to hold the light? I was reminded the other day, I was walking with a friend for a hike, and there's a new building next to my home that was just newly built. And as we're passing it, ready to go up the mountain, they go, ugh, they build such ugly buildings. Like, who even came up with this? And I was amazed because, like, what if we play a game and if you want to say something and it's not positive, you just don't do it? It's like, what is your intention for why? What are you putting out into the world as you speak those words? What are you putting out into your world, into your energy field? Because that's not going anywhere. It's in you. What did you just put out? You just put out criticism. You just put out noticing something that's wrong. Catch that thought. I really love that they've built these buildings that so many new families can live in now. Wow, look at this building. It's right by a beautiful stream. It must be that was actually my thought when I saw this building. I was like, wow, imagine it's like you're in the middle of a city, but there's this little stream. I'm like, I bet people on the fourth floor, it's a floor building, I bet people on the fourth floor can still hear that stream. Especially when it's a quiet road here. But it's like, especially when it's like really quiet at night. Isn't that magical to just hear that? I have a water fountain that I turn on at the end of the day to just relax, and I have my salt lamp and just like, okay, we're unwinding now. Imagine living just next to a stream. How freaking amazing is that? That's what I saw. That is not what the person I was with saw. And that's the thing. Do you have the capacity? I wasn't born this way, by the way. I was also in this, no, life doesn't work like this, and defense and walls. It's a muscle to be trained. Do you have the capacity to hold the light? Do you have the capacity to accept it? It's similarly as the whole world can love you. If you do not have the capacity to welcome that in, if you do not love yourself, if you do not know how to let love in, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see the whole world loving you, and it is. We see that which we are. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. I recently had to explain to someone who was quite offended as I set boundaries, as I expressed something that isn't working for me, that wasn't working for me. And they got really defensive. To which I said, I know it's a shitty feeling. I've had to sit with that with closest to me people, expressing something that I said that have hurt them. I hated that feeling. I felt that burning in my solar plexus, and I'm like, no, let me explain. Let me fix this. And instead, I didn't do any of that. It's like, okay, how can I be present with my experience and be present with the experience of the other person? But when we don't have that capacity, we don't have the capacity to hold the shadow. We don't have the capacity to hold the light. When someone expresses something that isn't working for them, we get defensive. Our not enoughness is acting up. Our how do I fix this? Wait, why did you even say that? Ugh, there's always something wrong for you. And we start to defend. Instead of hearing them, being present, not seeing that which they're sharing as an invitation, but we see it as an attack because we feel attacked, because the attack button is still present within us. We take it personally. We make it mean something about us, that we're bad, or we're a bad person, or we did something horrible. And then we're trying to defend that. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not a bad person. I didn't mean to hurt you. And then we're trying to gaslight and tell another person that their reality isn't right. No, that's not what I meant. You misunderstood, right? You have no right to your emotions. Be happy with me, because that's what I need from you. For me to be safe, for me to feel good about myself, I need you to feel good about me. That's an exhausting life. The price for your own freedom is to allow freedom to others. And trying to control how someone sees you, what they think of you, going la 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 when someone is expressing to you how you've hurt them, their boundaries, we're going to struggle. Because again, we do not have capacity to hold the shadow, and we do not have the capacity to hold the light. And you can be doing all those practices out there. You can do the breath work, you can do the meditations, you can do, I don't know, ecstatic dances, you can do so many different trips, and it's great and it's a great release practice. But if you do not train those muscles, holding the light and holding the shadow, you're going to be in the exact same place. And there's going to be this illusion of, oh, but I'm doing something and I feel amazing for like the next few hours after this experience or during it. It's like, great, but what are the changes? What are the long-term changes that are being created in your life? One of my greatest passions is one-on-one work. We have Thrive, which is not a deep dive. It's more about consistency. It's about you showing up to you. But one of my passions is self-mastery. Because within 3 months, I teach you how to have that capacity to hold a shadow, to hold a light. I literally just Monday had a session with a new client. They go, at the end of the session, I ask, how was it? And they go, that was intense, but that was like really good. And it is intense, and it is a boot camp. But this is why you are a completely different person 3 months after. This is why we don't just do the energetics. We look at the shadow. We learn to hold it. We learn to not shut it down. Because here's the thing, if you're shutting out people on the outside, if you're trying to control them, change how they see you, or hope that they see you in a particular way, this is what you're doing within you. A part of you that is vulnerable and desperately wants to be seen, and you're just saying, shut up. I don't have time for you. You're bad. Right? Anger doesn't have the right to be. Sadness, that's for wimps. It is inevitable that if you have that relationship with yourself, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, you will most definitely project that onto everyone in your life. So if you're not doing this for you, think about it. Do the people that you love most deserve that? Do they deserve to be shut down and not have the right to their expression, to them being themselves in the long run? Because you do not have the capacity to hold the shadow and the light within you. I know that's the decision that I had to make for myself at some point. I got 2 kids. And understanding not just those in your family, but anyone in your proximity, you're throwing that out there. Doesn't your family deserve better? Don't the people you work with deserve better? Doesn't our world deserve better? We all want better. But how many of us are actually willing to do what it takes to create a better? The reason I'm sharing this with you is because I just put out a workshop, Love It Into Being. And with this workshop, which is available until Sunday, there's also a discount for self-mastery. The 3-month program, it's intense, but it's also powerful, and it is freaking transformational. Everyone I've ever worked with who's gone through this 6 months, 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it's like you need 3 months if you're completely drowning to build a boat. For some people, they don't come to me when they're drowning. They come to me when they already have a raft. And they're like, okay, I want to build a boat now. So it depends where you're at. I don't work with people for more than 6 months. But 3 months or 6-month containers, there's a significant discount. And if you want to have a free clarity call to see if this is right for you, are we a right fit? Do we click? I also have to understand, is where you're at and where you want to go something I can actually support you with. So if you want to do this, if you're serious about getting it all together, expanding your capacity to hold the shadow so you don't dump it and throw it on other people, it really feels like a throw up when we don't have the capacity to hold that. And also hold the light so you stop pushing away the experiences that are good for you. A lot of us go into, I know self-care and I know how to allow the good or the familiar. Because the truth is, most of us are terrified when the good is something new. We're like, no, I don't want that. I'm okay. It's not good. It's not better. I have what I have. You have what you're used to. And life implies expansion. A tree doesn't grow 3 meters and says, I'm good now. It keeps growing, keeps expanding. You're either growing or you're dying. And this is why it's so important to learn how to have that capacity to hold the light and to keep welcoming it in. because this is you moving with life. This is you living your purpose. So again, free clarity call, link in the description. Make the most of it. If you're not ready for this and you're like, okay, let's just see what does me showing up consistently to me look like. Check out Thrive. That too is in the description. Thank you so much for being here. Taking in those full moon energies still available to us. And I'm wishing you a powerful week.